I love what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And look at this picture. These are all kinds of different pots, all different shapes, all different sizes, a little bit different colors. They're all pots because what we're going to be talking about, they're all clay pots. What we're going to be talking about today is about clay on the potter's wheel. This is such an important message for all of us because we are on the potter's wheel. Let's start out by reading Jeremiah 18, 2 through 4, because we're going to be talking about this. This is the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord. Go down to the potter's house, and there I will give you my message. So I went down to the potter's house, and I saw him working at the wheel. But the pot he was shaping from the clay was marred in his hands. So the potter formed it into another pot, shaping it as seemed best to him. Very important to remember these verses because we're going to be talking about them in a minute. And we are going to be looking at clay on the potter's wheel. And look at this. Often we resist this refining because it involves pain. It doesn't feel good to be shaped by our master. It's not easy. And God is relentless in his goal of producing holiness and Christ-like character in each one of us. So he lets us go through that molding process on that wheel as we're being shaped by our master. And it doesn't feel good, but it produces holiness. Especially if you're involved in the prayer movement, God is working deeply in your life. He uses our life experiences and struggles in this shaping process right where we're at. Someone else's struggle, someone else's trial, someone else's forming on the wheel is different than our own. It's uniquely designed by our Heavenly Father for us. When we are being shaped, we often ask God these kind of questions. God, don't you care about my pain? Why don't I understand what is happening? Why aren't you telling me? Can I trust that you will bring me through this? And why is this taking so long? Look at your own life. Haven't you asked God about this? Common questions that we often ask God in this process. But have you ever watched a potter as he shapes the clay? Now I have. My husband and I spent 5 years in Asia, and we were able to visit the delightful country of Turkey several times. And I remember when we were there, we were in a little village, and there was an old woman and a man, and they were in the business of making pots into something beautiful. So we saw a lot of pots, all shaped by the loving hands of this woman. And man, some were more beautiful than others, but they were all different. It was at a potter's house in Jeremiah's day that the prophet received one of his most dramatic messages. God told Jeremiah in Jeremiah 18:1 to go down to the potter's house and he would give him a message. Well, the potter's workshop, it must have been in the lower part of Jerusalem. That's what I imagine. The original text signals the urgency of the command. It was like, arise, go down, go now. So the word potter means forming one or shaper, and the verb can be used of God's creative work. If you want to know some verses about that, you can look in Genesis 2:7-8, Psalm 94:9, and Isaiah 29:16. But God has formed all that he exists, and he is shaping each one of us into a masterpiece for his glory. He's the one that shapes people. And it's our choice. It's the choice of the one being shaped if he agrees to what his master is doing. I wonder how many of us, if we were honest, wonder what God is doing in some area of our life right now. And if he actually knows what he is doing, these thoughts might come to your mind. So today you might feel like nobody cares, nobody knows what you're going through. You might feel like you're in a hidden storage place. But in this hidden storage place, we need to ask God some questions. Am I in agreement with what God is doing in the nitty-gritty places in my life? Think about it. Are you in agreement with what God is doing right now in your life? In those little places, the nitty-gritty part of your life. Am I willing to die to that which will not glorify God? You need to answer that. And can I accept God's personal stripping process in my life? Because in this hidden storage place, you go through a stripping process. I've been there. I know what it's like. It's very, very hard to die to everything that will not glorify God. But if you want to do God's will for your life, if He's got a great plan for your life, you must go through this process. There's no way we can get out of it. It's God's plan. We're on the potter's wheel. He's forming us into something beautiful for His purposes. And I want to end with this verse in John 12:24, the Amplified Bible. I assure you, most solemnly I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just one grain. It never becomes more, but lives by itself alone. But if it dies, it produces many others and yields a rich harvest. And you know, we want God to work in our lives so that we see a rich harvest come forth. So let's say yes to this process that God is bringing us through, because in the end, it will only become a blessing. The sunlight of God is going to come on your life, and it will all be worth it if right now you feel like you're on the potter's wheel. So may the Lord give you grace. May the Lord help you trust Him in the midst of His molding process in your life.